Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. We're going over some femme fatales from Faeten to see which one might be right for you. Aside from their unknown backstory, partly because I smashed the G key through everything the game throws at me, their energy is like a low-key BDSM party gone high-key homicidal. It's as if Victoria's Secret was embracing the dark arts and jumping out of their spring catalog to off people. In my opinion, this is the edgiest class in the game with plenty of garter belts and sharp objects. So let's get into which of these assassins is your pick. As with all class archetype overviews, we go over playstyle, where I'll discuss the pros and cons of playing the class, beginner friendliness and skill ceiling, endgame potential and endgame content, and of course, last but not least, aesthetics. Let's go over demonic first, or shadow hunter. This femme fatale dropped out of class where they teach you how to sneak stab people to death and instead started reading books on black magic, eventually summoning demon arts and shit. Not sure if it's the same demon energy that plagues bitch ass Armin, but they definitely have a better moveset. This was my main for a while and I gotta say they're like the heavier hitting, big damage class for assassins. For some comparison, I'd say this is like the scrapper of assassins. If you've ever played WoW, this is like the combat spec rogue with huge weapons, the weightier attacks and big bursty damage. There are two builds. One that gets rid of your demonic transformation in exchange for a higher regular skill damage, and one for bonus damage during transformation with no cooldown. Once transformed into demon form, you get a new skill set that does big damage for a limited time. Right now the transformation build seems to be the go-to since it's powerful right out of the box, but my only gripe with this build is that the demonic transformation makes you look like an extra on Mad Max. It just breaks the whole Victoria's Secret immersion that I've created for myself. Just my opinion though. As for beginner friendly, this class is straightforward enough. It has one of the cheapest builds to start out as with a transformation build along with Scouter and is powerful enough to clear content quickly and efficiently. The skill ceiling is mid to high and it comes down to how ham you can go in expending your damage onto the boss via spamming skills as efficiently as possible. However, some skills aren't as fast as they would seem for an assassin class. A lot of them have animation delays, some at the beginning and some at the end, which makes the class a bit tricky to start out, but you can get accustomed to it pretty quickly. Aesthetically though, dressed to the nines and built like a model with two giant blades, she always looks like she's gonna tell someone something humiliating and they're gonna like it. She exudes Black Air Force stiletto energy with those giant blades, and if you piss her off enough, she'll turn into a Night of the Dead extra and maul you. I really wish they would do something about the transformation look because you look like a drunk person's Halloween costume in downtown Manhattan at a dive bar. The armor is actually pretty decent if you zoom in and actually take a real look, which you probably never do when you're in the midst of transforming, which is only usually during battle. When zoomed out though, you look like a junkie running through a crowd pushing people out of the way for the 2 o'clock free crack giveaway. Running animation mixed with the giant Freddy Krueger claws looks a bit awkward and the transformation itself doesn't look demonic enough, as the class was originally named and supposed to be influenced from. There aren't even a decent set of horns on her during the transformation, which I think would make a huge difference in the look and feel of the transformation itself. Next we got Blade or Deathblade. This death lady actually graduated her classes and mastered the art of assassinating her prey. She uses the traditional daggers that all shady assassin classes love. Playstyle is like a WoW assassin spec rogue or like a battle master of the assassins. You set up your damage window with buffs and debuffs and burst damage within the damage window with your Z sub awakening and big damage charge attacks. This might take beginners some time to get used to the odd variations of speed in each attack, some being charging and channeling skills. This is a more calculated class with back attack mechanics, so the skill ceiling is definitely higher if you want to max DPS. There's more movement and positioning involved while juggling your resource orbs and special Z attack. Thankfully you have good mobility to position yourself to set up your attacks. I say this class can be beginner friendly because everything feels good out of the box, but you will soon realize that a lot of work and decision making at a fast pace goes into putting out optimal DPS in the endgame. Aesthetic wise though, this is one of the coolest looking classes in the game. Not only do you have 2 deadly looking daggers, but a fucking claymore on your back to burst down your foes in half. The daggers behind the waist gives it a ninja assassin, kunoichi vibe, and just looks stylish. They don't give off the evil dark vibes as much as their demonic shadow hunter sisters, but still look deadly and definitely give off the more traditional assassin feel. I inspect characters all the time that just catch my eye because they look cool, and most of the time it's gotta be an assassin character, namely Blades. Next up is the Reaper. This is a bonus for future NAEU servers because it won't be out on launch, but hopefully it will come out soon enough. This assassin sister is like the one that was raised by a traveling circus. It's high flying, ultra mobile, and super responsive in its attacks and movement. You get a literal shadow step like the Shadow Tree Rogue in WoW, and actual stealth, which is amazing for PvP. The playstyle requires you to adapt to positioning on the fly with its back attacks and upkeep your gauge to maximize DPS. The faster pace of this class and the positional attacks make it a pretty pretty high skill ceiling class. As a beginner, it may be daunting to play with moves that throw you far off from your original position, and quickly at that. It's also one of the frailer classes like a glass cannon, but makes up for it with its quick movement. Their crit damage buff is unmatched for the party, and honestly, having a Reaper in our progression group, I can say that they make things a lot easier in certain ways. For example, on Payton hard mode, he literally counters everything because he can position himself so quickly, and the damage buff is just amazing. If you want a quick dynamic class and look like a Ringling brother while doing it, then go Reaper. As for aesthetics, she looks just as lovely in a psychotic way as the other assassins. She only carries one blade, which in my opinion could be bigger or even shaped like a scythe since she is called the Reaper. Other than that, the fusion of dark arts and Victoria's Secret prevails and looks just as glorious as the others. Assassin overall is a great choice for beginners in my opinion, and as content scales up, so will your skill level. Even though the skill ceiling can be fairly high, the learning curve on these classes is less steep than, let's say, a Soul Fist. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, and I'll start streaming more on twitch.tv/agreedy. Make sure you stop by because it'll put some more hair on your chest. Later.